what leads us into the aspects of the healing. It's part 2 of our consultation. I like being very in depth in the explanation. But when we're thinking about the aspects of our healing, understanding that in that potential, understanding that within our potential is our greatest aspects of ourselves, but that potential is hidden within that shadow. The potential to be our greatest self, to rise into our greatest self, to be our greatest self is hidden within those shadows. So this is where the what to accept based upon this Tower card, allowing that old infrastructure to fall. What in the Knight of Cups, the way that I used to attract things, I must forgive myself for the way that I was attracting things, the way that I was creating things in my, the way I was creating, the way that I was creating and attracting the things into my life was based upon my identity. So I have to forgive myself for the knowledge I didn't know. This helps me release away from the power and the control. This is one of the major keys when it comes to this, is releasing the aspects of that power and that control that I had when I was sitting there like, because we're getting intimate with our power, understanding and knowing. I'm not creating connections. So I can react to them based on, see, they ain't real, or they ain't this, or whatever it is that hurt, that pain, because it's all transmuting through that pain. It's all transmuting through that trauma. It's transmuting through what you have allowed to be wound up and repressing and pressing and keeping that energy in motion, but it's stagnant. That your energy constantly has to move. So when you allow it to become stagnant, then that's what creates those barriers and those elixirs inside of your body that keep you locked up. So then it doesn't matter. And this is one of the biggest things when I'm doing, because this is one of the biggest things when I say, this is for anybody at whatever level that you believe that you're at. If it resonates with you in that aspect, in that tone, it resonates with you. It's like, nigga, I know I need to deal with my shadows. I know I need to start dealing with these aspects. I've become too comfortable. I've become too complacent. And now anything that I could potentially gravitate towards, I'm shutting down because I don't have any more space for it. Anything that I can actually take in a greater encompassing that matches my frequency of my abundance, my alignment, these aspects of myself, I can't connect to because my mind is still stuck somewhere. My mind is still stuck on maintaining that identity. My mind is still maintained on connecting to how I was used to attracting things, the way that I got that attention. And this becomes that breakdown. After we do the breakdown, after we do that whole break, we do this breakdown. Questions, any questions that you might have, I'm going to listen to I'm going to listen. This is the aspect of me listening. All I'm going to do is listen. And then from there, I'm going to create from there, we're going to connect it. This is where we start connecting those dots. Understanding them original axioms or those dots or those points that we sometimes get stuck behind. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be open. It's okay to be honest with yourself. It's okay to be selfish. This is your moment of being selfish. Your shadow, the rejected aspects of yourself are things that now in your light, in your current state, even if you're just coming into your awareness, you're just coming into your spiritual awareness, you're just starting to ascend, or you've done it before, everything's going to lead back to that shadow work. And that's why I add the shadow work, the shadow reading to the consultation, because everything's going to start with shadow work. If you want to learn how to program your crystals are in alignment with your chakras. If your energy's not in balance, then you can't program this crystal. You can't program that crystal or that stone to do what you need it to do, because your mind is locked to where you can't use that. You can't unlock that. You can't unlock that energy because there's a different symbol in the way. This is what happens for a lot of people when they first come into their enlightenment, and it feels good for the first. I call it the trial. I call being conscious being the trial aspect, because now you're awake, you're aware of things, you're admitting things, you're aware of things, but are you acknowledging how it resonates with you on that personal level? Not with everybody else. Not everybody else. Other people are lost, other people are lost, other people are lost. Not to them. This is all on you. This is your space. This is you rising. The reason that you're here listening to this video right now is because you're rising. You're in that space. This is you, because this is what happens with, the way I explain it is, all of your people are in your potential. Everything that you're wanting is in the potential. Your soul tribe, the soul contracts that you're going to flourish in, everything's going to be within that potential. Everything that you're creating back in this space has already been done. It's already been created. It already has a title, it already has a definition. The key of us doing this consultation is breaking you free, starting to break you free from them definitions that you use. Whether it be family, whether it be a friends, that job, that situationship, whatever it may be. This is where it starts. Addressing those shadows. Because the reason that they exist is because of those very shadows. The reason that these things keep happening to you and you keep feeling like you're getting blindsided is because of those shadows. Address the shadows. Let's work on the shadows. That's going to be that key for you. That's going to be that ultimate opening for you. After we do our shadow reading, we have our conversation. We sit back, we talk, we have a nice conversation similar to this. It might be something that's similar, like we're sitting here in meditation stance, and we just allowing the frequency to allow us to open up, sitting in that space, and it can be simple as a guided meditation. Right there in your consultation, I can provide a guided meditation. Let's see where your mind goes. Let's see what we can open up right here in this position, and let's see how we can take it further. That's the key. I want you to be the fucking greatest. I want you to be the fucking best. I want you to exceed. I want you to exceed those boundaries, those barriers that you have put up. I want you to exceed those things. And the only way to be able to do this is stepping out of existing. You've existed long enough. You've gone by day long enough. It's time to live in this now. It's time to live in your love. It's time to live in that. It's time to live in that aspect of your love, of your light, and understand the peace of your darkness. When you understand both aspects, both sides of that spectrum, that transparency, your ability to see, your ability to move, your ability just to live in that whole space changes. I guarantee that it changes. It's lit. It's fun. It's encompassing to be able to be like, to set my boundary and say, after you set that boundary and you set that tone, now you have a boundary that is set. You have your standards to reinforce your boundary. This is where we come into the aspects of allowing that identity to fall within acceptance. When we come into the aspect of accepting, allowing that old infrastructure to fall, those boundaries start to fall. And this comes into the aspect of forgiving ourselves for even creating these barriers. What we think are our boundaries are actually our barriers. This is when I've talked about this before, and I'm going to get deeper into it in the lecture, but this is strictly for this training purpose. But when you're in that space, you create the boundaries based on the external state or the byproducts. So you create a boundary based on money. You create a boundary based on your money, where you live. You create a boundary based on external aspects that are ever evolving and changing in reflection to how you're supposed to look at them. So by the time when it gets challenged, now your money gets challenged and you don't know how to make any more money because you set your entire stance on the identity of you being by your money. Now you don't have the money, who are you? When it's the alignment into your abundance and the wealth of self. Once you have this in alignment, everything else falls into place. Guaranteed. Once you start taking your shit to that next level, everything else falls into place. Everything falls into place. But this has been the aspects of the shadow reading. This is one of the services that I provide. This is like one of the introductory services that I provide. Shadow reading is $60. It's an hour. It's done via video. So if you're not local to where I'm at, if you don't have to worry about all that video call, it's going to be a video call either by Zoom or by Skype or by Messenger. Zoom, Skype, or Messenger, or by DM in the DM of the videos. But whatever that aspect is, and we have this conversation. We build from here. You would get to get that shit off of your chest. You get to get some clarity behind what's been on your chest, that residue that's been on your heart. A lot of us are doing our work, but now we still have those little bits of residue that we got about with. Let's do the shadow reading. Let's get that consultation. Understand my reaction to things. Understand my patterns and understand my connection to patterns. Understanding my center, being the center of attention based on my trauma. Understand how I've aligned myself based on being the center of attention of my trauma. Based on repeating the same patterns. Based on having the same reactions. That's going to make me learn how to go in moderation into these spaces. If it doesn't serve me, I don't go there. But if I have to go there, I can do it in moderation in order to protect my energy. That takes me into the aspect of creating that space that's needed. Based on those boundaries that I set. You set a boundary, it's for your healing, it's for your ascension, it's for your rising. Guess what? It's working. Let it do what it's supposed to do. That opens up the ultimate gates to your limitless potential. Ultimate gates to your limitless potential. In the description are the prices for some of the readings that I do. The natal chart for all other services, natal chart analysis, this consultation, shadow work, the shadow work therapy, chakra therapy, chakra alignment therapy, and many more service and products from spiritual baths, from original spiritual baths like basic, abundance, prosperity, cleansing yourself for that, to invoking spiritual baths. That means you want to work with a specific energy, like you want to work with Tiamat, or you want to work with Lucifer, or you want to work with Lilith, or you want to work with Ganesh energy. I get that channel, that information for the herbs to put into that bath, and then create that, the sigils. You get the sigils, you get the sage that's charged for it, incense that are charged for it, the candles that are set for that tone, to focus in on your ritual to unlock your greatest potential. Stay tuned for more of this, as I will be doing more videos throughout I will be adding more videos about just getting into depth with services. That's to give you that video, give you a visual of what we do. I want you to be the best. You want you to be the best. As two aspects of the universe. You're a part of the universe that I can learn from. I'm a part of the universe that you can learn from. As we have these conversations, as we have that conversation and that build, this helps us understand the perspective based on learning. Opening our minds up and having that honesty and transparency. Tapping into that knowing. I love you. We love us. Ashe.